So, Glenn, welcome to Channel 1. It's a privilege to have you here.
Well, nice to be asked.
Okay. So, first of all, tell us the news. Any new solo project maybe on the way or something?
Well, I've been pretty busy, actually. I was gigging last night. I've been doing a little acoustic tour around England. Just me and my acoustic guitar and sort of singing some songs from my varied and checkered career. Rich Gears, a couple of Pistol songs, some stuff I've written for the last few albums I put out myself, and I've nearly finished making a new album.
Oh, wonderful.
Which was where I was a bit earlier on, actually. I'm working with this guy, Jim Lowe, who is the stereophonics producer, and their drummer's playing drums on it. And I've got a few friends along to play some lead guitar on things. I've got Steve Newton from Rich Kids plays on a few tracks, and a guy called James Stevenson, and a friend of mine called John Tiverton. It's sounding really good, actually. I'm quite pleased. I think we're about 3 or 4 days off of having a finished album, so I'm excited.
Glenn, are you still in contact with John Lydon and Steve Jones? I mean, is there any new Sex Pistols project maybe on the way? I have to ask.
At the moment. I mean, John is... Last time I spoke to John was when we got off the stage in Spain last summer. Not this summer, the summer before. And we did... I don't know, we did about 20-odd gigs around the world. In fact, we came to Athens. We was playing there.
Yeah.
And... that was the last time I spoke to John, but that's fine, you know. I'm sure there will be something in the future. When it is, I don't know. We've all gone off to do our own different projects. John's kind of quite busy doing his public image.
Yeah.
So Steve's doing his radio show. Paul's got a new band with a guy out of Def Leppard, Phil Cullen, and I'm doing my thing, you know.
Okay.
There's plenty of things in the world other than the Sex Pistols.
Glenn, what do you remember most about the music scene back then, in the 70s, you know?
Well, there's lots of different things. I just feel kind of privileged to kind of be one of the forerunners, but also be involved in a good scene in London. When punk started out, there was just the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
And then after about 6 months of us starting to play around, we found that there was a whole kind of... coterie of other people who were looking to get involved in something. And like, we were the standard bearers, but it was great when people started rallying around and started forming bands themselves, and maybe they was already in a band, but then realised they was doing the wrong kind of thing and sort of cut their hair and got involved. And it was just, I don't know, it was like a bit of a musical revolution. It was an exciting time, you know, so
of course.
I feel privileged to have been part of that, but on the other hand, I was one of the instigators of it, you know, and it was only because me, Steve, Paul and John and Malcolm stuck our necks out that it came about, I think, really, you know.
Of course.
And then a little bit further down the line, some of the American bands came over, like the Ramones and the Heartbreakers and stuff, and it was interesting how they'd been doing a similar thing in America at the same time, but without hearing us and without us having heard them, because nobody had made any records earlier on, you know. It was interesting how people arrived at a similar place from different sides of the Atlantic, but maybe it was because everybody got fed up with the same set of influences at the same time, you know. I mean, you know, there was things like the glam rock thing, which had been and gone. There was the Velvet Underground, which had been and gone by then, you know. It was Bowie doing his stuff, and it all petered out a little bit, you know. So.
Speaking of Bowie, any memories from Mick Ronson? Ghost of Princess in Towers, got a great album of yours.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. Well, it's funny, I did a show last night and his sister Maggie turned up. I had some celebrity rock chicks at my gig. It was Maggie Ronson, who's Mick's sister, and Tracy Hunter, and Hunter's daughter. They came along to check me out. And in fact, I played Ghost of Princess, the title track last night. I mean, Mick Ronson was a consummate, superb musician and a fantastic guy. You know, he was a laugh. Always had a good joke. He liked to bet on the horses and the dog racing. You know, like greyhound racing. I remember going to greyhound track in London once. It was quite funny. It was very sad that he died prematurely. I think he could have gone on to do so much more really good work. You know, I mean, as well as being a great guitarist, people forget that he was the guy who wrote the strings for Walk on the Wild Side. You know. I
was a teenage Sex Pistols. What a fantastic book.
I was.
Yeah. Can you tell us some details about this book? Yeah.
What can I tell you about it? It's just my recollection of the time. I mean, when you're in a band, everybody's got a different story to tell. Everybody's got a different angle.
That's right.
It's my view of things. I've tried to be quite funny with it. You know, John's got a very more cynical view. I'm not that kind of guy, and I just wanted to put my side of the story over, which I thought had been kind of a little bit lost over the years afterwards. So there you go. You know.
Glen, finally, looking back, can we say that Malcolm McLaren was the enemy between you and John Lydon? You know.
I think it didn't help. You know, Malcolm did a lot to help us, but he also did a lot to split us up. And I think there's one good thing to kind of remember. There was a guy around called Bernard Rhodes who went on to help Mick Jones form the Clash. He didn't form the Clash, but he helped Mick form the Clash.
Yeah.
And him and Malcolm McLaren were very kind of good friends at one stage. And Bernard Rhodes, when we were starting out, he used to come down and he helped us out. But he saw what Malcolm did wrong, and what Malcolm did wrong really was drive a wedge between me and John. And he kind of vowed not to let that happen with the Clash, and he kept the Clash together for a lot longer than the Pistols. You know, they became really big in America because of it. So, you know, I think he did something right. So, was Malcolm the enemy? Yes and no. You know. He didn't realise what he had on his hands. You know, he thought that we really couldn't play and that we were just his puppets, but that was far from the case.
Yeah. And Glen, your favourite Sex Pistols track, if you have to choose one, you know?
I like Anarchy. You know, it's kind of as our first single. It's got a great groove, it's got a great tune, and it's got John's kind of great lyric on it. You know.
Of course.
To me, that song means more than just a song. It sums up, you know, what we was all about when we was all getting on together, and we was all in it together. That's what that song means to me.
Yeah.
I thought you actually was going to ask me what my favourite Greek dish is, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Which is porcophilia, but there you go.
And Glen, how do you think the spirit of the punk era influenced what you do now? You know?
Well, basically, one of the whole things about punk was accept no bullshit, and I still don't, you know. But I don't want to walk down the road dressed as a kind of an identikit kind of punk at the age of 53. You know. To do. It's a spirit.
It's a spirit. Yeah, of course.
It's not a look. You know, it's not a look. It's not a sound. It's an idea. And there's kind of loads of different takes on those on that idea.
More than just an attitude. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, no, more than a fashion. You know. You know that.
Yeah. Okay, Glen, thank you very, very much for your time for this interview. We'll be in contact, okay?